Hi guys, Zaby here bringing you a brand new video. Today we are doing a deck profile, and as you can see it's actually not Six Samurai. Recently I decided I wanted to build a Noble Knight deck, and I was trying to get the final cards for the deck. That's why it took so long to get the deck profile up. But I no longer have Six Samurai nor Ghost Trick. My Ghost Trick is going to become a Nordic Yang Zing, but I don't think it's going to be finished anytime soon. The deck's only half complete, but this one is, minus 2 cards in the side deck. I really wanted to wait before I got those, but I haven't gotten a chance yet, and I really want to get the video up, so to avoid letting this video get any more long-winded, let us start. First, we're going to have 3 Noble Knight. I draw it. This is going to be the main card of the deck. It's basically the Searcher. It's a normal monster till it's equipped, then he becomes a level 5 Dark, and you special summon a Noble Knight from your deck in defense. Then destroy your equip, which is good for Noble Knights because then you can just re-equip it to another card. And the best combo to do that with is this next one, which is the other main card of the deck, Noble Knight Boars. Boars, basically when he's also a normal monster until it's equipped. When it's equipped, you can take 3 equip Noble Arms cards from your deck, and no, it's cards, not just the spells, and you'll know why soon. But you take 3, show them to your opponent, they pick one at random, and then the other 2 go to the graveyard, the 1 goes to your hand. And you think that might be bad, but you take your equip and you equip it to mid-draw, you can get a rank 5 right quick. So those are the main cards you're going to need. You're going to need 3 of each of these, there's just no doubt about it. I run 2 Noble Knight Gwaine. You special summon him if you have a normal monster, which those 6 are practically normal monsters without the equips, so that's why that card's good. I run 2 because it makes it a little bit more consistent. I only run 1 Noble Knight Brothers. Some people run 2, even 3. I think that's crazy, because even though it's a really, really good card, if you draw it early, it doesn't do anything. It just sits in your hand. And so many times I tested this with 2 actually, and I found 2 was just too much, in my opinion. I drew into it when I didn't need it really early on in the game. Though it does have really, really good defense. I guess, and you can also special summon 2 Noble Knight monsters from your hand when you summon him. And it's also like a Pot of Avarice. And it's good, but I find it seems to work better at 1. Just trust me on that. But I guess you can do whatever you want. If it works better for you at 2 or 3, you know, all the power to you. I run 1 Noble Knight Bedweir. I thought about running 2, but every time I run 2, it just doesn't seem to help. But whenever I need a second one, it's not there, so I can't win with Bedwetter. Bedweir. It's a really good card though, because you can dump a Noble Arms spell into the graveyard. It has to be a spell, Noble Arms. And you can also take one of your equips and re-equip it to anybody on the field, anyone that you want. And it is a good card, especially if for whatever reason Boars is not going to be the best option for you at the moment. If you can't get your Exceeding out real quick and you want to go into one of the kings, he's probably going to be a good option to get an equip to the grave. Then we got Noble Knight Gretchwald. This one, he's also a normal, and when it's equipped, he doesn't gain a level, but you can get a Noble Knight from your graveyard to your hand, and it can prove to be quite good, so I like having it at 1. I think most people do anyway. Then I have 1 Noble Knight Dristan. It's gotten me out of plenty of situations. It's actually won me a couple of games, so I'd like to run 2, but there doesn't seem to be room for it, and it seems to work really well at 1 anyway, so 1 Noble Knight Driston. We're going to have 3 Merlin. Merlin is probably the 3rd main card in the deck. It's you don't need it, but if you want to compete against the top tier decks, you're probably going to want 3 Merlin. You probably don't want less than 3, because it searches, and even if you run a synchro build of this deck, it's still going to be good, because it can, anytime you want pretty much, you can banish him from your graveyard, and you can exceed or synchro into one of your Noble Knights, which is crazy. And it's also a searcher, and you tribute him and he gets him right into the graveyard, but I don't think you can use the effect the same turn. I could be wrong. I have to reread it. 2 Gwenfir, Queen of Noble Arms. This is a Noble Arm card. It's not a spell, but it basically acts as one. Basically, if you equip it to a light, it can protect itself from a destruction effect once by tributing it, or you can kill any monster it battles if it's a dark by tributing it. So this is probably my 2nd favorite equip in this deck. And then the final monsters, I run 2 Honest, because who wouldn't run 2 Honest in a light deck anymore, since it's been lifted from 1 to 2. So those are my monsters. That's pretty much the core of it. The next half, you're going to see a lot of spells, because this deck has only 3 traps. Because you can run traps in it, but it's really spell and monster heavy based, so, which is also a good thing to have the Honest, especially with this deck, because you're not going to have a lot of traps. You're going to want the extra protection. So 2 Noble Arms of Destiny. I feel like that's the best card, the best equipped spell in the deck, because you can save your monster from being destroyed once a turn. But also, I run 2 Excalibur. This also makes it so your opponent can't target. Its other effect I don't really run into so much, but its anti-target effect is really good. And besides the Queen, this is the only other Noble Arms card you can't have multiples of on the field at the same time. But I still feel like this is the better card, and you still should run 2, because you're going to need to have, you want to get into this quick, in my opinion. And having both of these on your monster is going to be one hell of a card to try to get over. 1 Gallatin. This one makes your monster gain 1,000 attack but lose 200 every turn. But it's really good because 1,000 attack is 1,000 attack. So this one is Caliburn. It makes your monster gain 500, and you can gain 500 life points per turn. And then we have, I can't pronounce this, I apologize. It's Arfidir, I don't know. This one pops a face down card your opponent has, and permanently, even when it's not equipped to this card, permanently makes your monster lose 500 attack. But what's really good about this card, basically about these 3 cards and Noble Arms of Destiny, that the Queen does not have and Excalibur does not have, is if it's destroyed or loses its target and is destroyed, you can just re-equip it once per turn, which is awesome. This card doesn't have that effect, the Excalibur, but the Queen can bring itself back, but you gotta wait a turn. It doesn't directly come back. You have to do it on your own turn. But still a really good card. Trust me guys, this deck's crazy, and it's really good. I don't lose very often with it, and that's even against top tier. I think the only deck it struggles with is actually Burning Abyss. Is the hardest I have gone against, but you know, this deck does really good against most other decks. I had run 1 last chapter of the Noble Knights. I did run 2. I kind of ran out of room, but You should definitely have at least one of these in the deck. I'd prefer it at 2, but I really want to keep this deck at 40. So it's at 1 is really good. Sometimes you can dead draw it though, especially early on in the game. But it's good to have in your hand still in case you're screwed. But this deck does a pretty good job of controlling the field. So triple Rhoda. Obvious, it's a warrior deck. You're gonna want to run 3. Triple Forbidden Lance. It's you know, you're not, like I said, you're not going to have a lot of traps in this deck, so you're going to need some kind of protection. And because of the dual purpose of this card, it's a really good card. It's a quick play, and you can still use it as a trap. You can protect yourself. There's a lot of uses for this card. It works. It runs perfect in this deck. 2 Mystical Space Typhoon. I would like to run 3, but I have the 3rd side decked, so you'll see that after the extra deck too. So 2 Mystical Space Typhoon, 1 Book of Moon, because Book of Moon is really good, and again, it's a quick play, so you're going to want some kind of traps or some protection in the deck. 1 Foolish Burial to get what you need to the graveyard. Most common, you're going to want to get the queen into the grave, so it's a free queen. And then onto the traps. Triple Royal Decree, because traps are annoying. And in a world where there's no heavy storm, you're gonna wanna be prepared for traps. So 3 Royal Decree in my build. It really helps, unless you're going up against decks that also don't have a lot of traps, in which case you just side them out, but still, it kind of sucks. But it's really good. So, onto the extra deck. Dual Artorgus, King of the Noble Knights. This is the main X-Seed, or one of the 2 main X-Seeds. This guy pops your opponent's spells equal to its equips, so that's also really good to have. 1 Starliege Palandynamo. Super good card. If you're running a light deck, it's come in handy quite a bit. 1 Constellar Omega, because I really like its effect. If you're really struggling or really afraid of your opponent's face down and you don't want your monster to die, I tend to go into this one because he can protect himself. It would be Constellar monsters, but he's really the only Constellar in the deck. 1 number 101 Silent Honor Arc, because it's Honor Arc. 1 Castel the Skyblaster Magician, because it's Castel. 1 Evil Swarm Excita Knight, because it's really good. 1 Heroic Champion Excalibur. Excalibur gets over most things, and if you don't have the equips early on, you really need to get over something. Sometimes it could be a better option. So that's Excalibur. 1 Blade Armor Ninja, because it gets dual attacks. I think it's really helpful. 1 Abyss Dweller. Abyss Dweller is a good card, 1 Diamond Direwolf. This is about the only card in my extra deck that I'm unsure of. I don't really go into it. I don't really care for it. I'm thinking about taking him out for Black Ship of Corn, at least until I can get my hands on a Daigusto MRL, which I don't have. 1 number 103 Ragan Zero, the perfect card against Cliff Arts. 1 Gaga Cowboy, because it's Gaga Cowboy. Last but not least, 2 Sacred Noble Knight of King Artorgus. It's spelled weirdly, but it's like the same guy, just more buffed up. He pops off a monster, and if you do it right on turn 1, you can get this guy out with 4,000 attack and can barely be stopped, can't be targeted, can't be destroyed, and yeah. Turn 1, if you're lucky, you can do that. Quickly, I am going to show off the side deck. I'm just going to mention that these are going to be Solemn Scolding when I get them. I do not have Solemn Scolding right now. I feel it would be really beneficial for this deck, but I don't have them yet. And I use Solemn Scolding because it has basically Solemn Warning's effect without the restrictions of, or no, Solemn Judgment's effect without the restrictions of Solemn Warning. So, now with my, I'm just going to say with my extra deck, or my side deck, I'm sorry. I'm kind of tired, I just came home from work. With my side deck, I kind of went with utility. So there's a lot of these cards you'll see aren't aimed towards one specific deck, even though it kind of is at the same time. I build it so it's a little more varied with different, going up against different decks. You never know what you can go up against. I'd like to be kind of prepared for that, so if you're siding against only the top decks, and then you get thrown for a loop with a deck you've never heard of, you know, at least I'll have something in here, hopefully, to side deck against it. So it's a little more generic, but not really. So I got one Neospatian Granmole, because it's a really good card, and it's very underrated. One Thunder King Ryo. I would like to run Mistake, but because this deck has a lot of searching in it, I feel like Mistake would hurt it more, especially with me running the Royal Decrees. And I don't know, I just feel like having a Thunder King Ryo that I can dispose of a little bit quicker would be a good card against Necros and a lot of other decks. So I got one Thunder King Ryo, two Spell Shattering Arrow. This deck, or this card, I feel is much, much better than, what is it called, Fairywind, because it only hurts your opponent, it doesn't hurt you, and actually that's pretty much it. It hurts your opponent, but not you. Even though Fairywind does hit traps, I feel like Spell Shattering Arrow is the better choice, in my opinion. Even though this is against Clifford's, I still feel like Pendulum decks are going to be a problem. So this is basically against any Pendulum deck, because it's Pendulum. There's my second last chapter of the Noble Knights, just in case. Same with Mystical Space Typhoon, a third Mystical Space Typhoon. I have a Release Restraint Wave in here, because just in case I need a heavy storm, you know. I might have to destroy one of my own equips, but sometimes that could be worth it, and sometimes they can come back, so, you know, I think this would be, it's a really good choice for this deck. Raigeki, because Raigeki is good, and, you know, it's good against many decks. Snatch Steal, I like to side this one out for, or against Burning Abyss, actually. It really hurts them when I Snatch Steal their Dante. So, actually, it's a really good card anyway with most decks, just there's not a lot of room in the main deck, so it's here in the side deck. 2 Breakthrough Skill, because you need a monster negation, and even though I vastly prefer Fiendish Chain way over Breakthrough Skill, this deck has continuous traps like Royal Decree, and in case I need to keep Royal Decree, you know, I better like stay with this. But you know, at the same time, it's also better because of all the equips, and you're going to have, a lot of the time I have 4 or 5 cards in the Spell and Trap card zone almost at all times. So having a Fiendish Chain and then something bad happening, you know, and then Fiendish Chain gets stuck would hurt me. So Breakthrough Skill is a good card in many ways. Last but not least is actually Curse of the Forbidden Spell. Why the heck would I be using this card? Because you discard a spell to negate your opponent's spell permanently. And that can stop decks right dead in their tracks, especially it really can hurt Necros. Because if you hit their ritual spell, it's done, you know? And also it's really good against Shaddoll, because Shaddoll is, You know, they're also spell heavy based, and it's really good, I think. And then it's even good for a mirror match. You know, kill off their Excalibur or even their Destiny, and they'll be hurting. They'll be hurting without those cards. They'll be a Noble Knight player will be scared without those, having an Exceed out especially. So, alright guys, thanks for watching. I'm sorry that it's so long, but I just got home from work and I really wanted to get this finished. So, you know what guys, thank you guys so much for watching my videos. Subscribe if you like my videos. If you don't, that's okay too. I also have a Facebook page. It's called Anime and Video Games. I post a lot of memes on there, and I also post my videos and updates and whatnot. So thank you guys again. It's like the third time. Thank you again for watching. I hope you all have a wonderful day.